If you or your children are now suffering with a variety of issues, from anxiety, panic attacks, different fears, OCD, even self-harm, fear of going back into the social environment because of COVID and because of lockdown, then it's really important to address the underlying causes and what led to that. Many of us lived a very, positive, good life pre-COVID. A lot of people who already had some of these challenges in their lives pre-COVID will find that the anxiety levels have built up even greater, and perhaps their behaviours have become even more intense and problematic for them. And if you think about it, really there's going to be a lot of people now suffering with what is known as complex post-traumatic stress disorder. We've effectively been through trauma in this last period of time, and we shouldn't disregard what that means to each individual, because we've all seen and perceived COVID and the associated problems through our own eyes. And that's why there's often been a lot of disagreement on certain issues, or on many issues, whether it's from lockdown, whether it's to restraints that have been put in, and coming out of lockdown even, masks, not masks, vaccines, no vaccines. And we're all going to have our own view on them. And I think first and foremost, it's important to understand that is we can't dictate to other people what they should believe about a situation, because we're not in their heads. So we have to address everything through ourselves. And if something is a problem for you or a member of your family as a result of COVID, then first and foremost, trying to open up some dialogue is a really good thing. And just also talking about if they don't feel safe in certain situations, then talking that through with them, and maybe finding a way where they could feel a bit safer. But also underlying this is that trauma, and that might need to be dealt with through different therapies and techniques, because it might not go away for a long time without that, or it could actually sadly escalate and become even more problematic. So I'd always suggest that if someone's struggling, then definitely to seek some sort of help, whatever help means to you. If you're somebody who prefers the more holistic approach, using different treatments such as hypnotherapy, emotional freedom technique, or any other system that's good for you, NLP, etc. Or if you're somebody who prefers the route via sort of the more mindful type techniques of sort of counselling, where you're just going through more of an analytical type of process, then ideally seek some help, because what you want to make sure is that over the coming months and years is you're not holding on to all of that stress that came through the COVID experience. So one of the techniques that I use and able to help people learn to use to a level for themselves is emotional freedom techniques. So have a look through my playlist, because there's a number of emotional freedom technique scripts, and there's also an explanatory video that helps you to just get used to the tapping points, working with your meridian system. So it helps to release stress and trauma. Obviously you can go further, you can seek professional help as well, and there's a lot of great books out there that can help you just find a better way of living. I always suggest to people to be really, really careful with what they're watching, what they're listening to. There's a lot of scaremongering out there. Anybody who's feeling anxious or scared might put some very scary or anxiety-inducing posts up on social media. You're best not to follow these. You're best not to get attached to them. I find that not watching the news is more of a positive for me. It might mean I miss out on certain bits of information, but actually I generally find it's good. The information tends to filter through. Also, again, social media, I'm very careful who I follow and who I connect with. And I tend to prefer to connect with like-minded people, people who understand me, rather than getting into arguments with people who are very shut down to their thinking methods. And that's something I've really noticed with COVID, is that people are very, very shut down to what they believe. And I find that if a post gets some early positive comments, the flow tends to be quite positive. If a post gets some early very negative comments, then the flow tends to be quite negative. And so again, just think to yourself, if you're going to comment on a post, what's the reason for it? Because unfortunately, in a lot of cases, people are not listening because they've already made their minds up. So if commenting on a post is going to create you more stress, you're probably better off not commenting. Think about the effects on you. Try and get out in nature, listen to positive podcasts, put on some good music, connect in whatever way you can with the people that you resonate with, people who are on your level. But make sure that it doesn't become too negative. If you're in a lot of fear, then what you don't want to do is escalate that fear. So try and connect more with positivity if that is the case. So I hope that's some help. It's a massive subject, COVID, and the problems that are associated with us. But over time, hopefully, we'll all come through, and hopefully there'll be something that is positive that we can take from this experience. So good luck with everything that you're working on and that you're trying to overcome yourself, and know that there is a route out. You don't have to be stuck in something negative.